Welcome to the Wager Makers Podcast with Webb and Schmidt.
Brick by brick, baby.
I'm freaking out, Webb.
I was told there'd be no man. Stupidity's going to be an asset. What a bunch of crybabies.
Hello, my name is Steve Smith, and this is Rob Weber. Say, hey, Webb.
Hello. What's up, Smith?
What's up, Webb? I'm Smith. That's Webb, and we are the Wager Makers, and this is the Wager Maker Podcast. Thank you all for listening. Big show tonight. We're on Monday night, getting the brackets going. Webb, here it is. Here's the masterpiece right
here.
There
it is.
See this, or
I can't. You got the virtual background. Fuck with it.
Yeah, there you go. But this is the masterpiece. We'll be working on this tonight. Brackets, most beautiful. One of the most beautiful. We say this about a lot of sports. Certainly the brackets, the weekend of the brackets, some of the most wonderful time of the year here. We're going to help you fill out the brackets. We want to talk about our bracket pool that we have going on. All you have to do is go to the CBS Sports link that we have on our Facebook page. And if you need the link, just email us, send us a message on Instagram, send us a message on Twitter, send us a message anywhere. Shoot us a text, shoot Webb a text. We will send you the link to our pool, the Wager Makers Podcast bracket pool. Absolutely. And it's $500 goes to the winner. No entry fee.
Someone will get whatever April, whatever day that is. Third. It used to be April, whatever that Tuesday is. The first Tuesday, I believe it is in April. Someone will have $500. Will be $500 richer, courtesy of the Wager Makers.
Absolutely free to enter, and all you have to do is subscribe. Hit the bell on our Facebook page and get two more people. And don't get caught up in that right now. Get on there, fill out a bracket.
Right.
You subscribe, fill out a bracket.
Right.
We got a few weeks to make sure you get 2 subscribers. If you start feeling like you're doing something, be like, hey, dude, you ain't getting $500 unless you get us a couple subscribers, and then you let us know who you got. So, but we want to get everybody in signed up as soon as we can. Bear with us here in New Orleans. It's our first summertime looking thunderstorm. I don't know if you can hear that right now.
I can. Wow.
That's thunder going on. It's like it's finally it's getting to be 80 degrees here. This is our first afternoon Louisiana lightning thunderstorm. Everything. Hopefully
Louisiana
I don't get
lightning. There you go.
It's wild, man. We got the brackets. I'm pumped, Webb.
The sun and moon. It's a storm. A storm is brewing. Storm is here.
The perfect storm. It's the perfect storm. So Webb, this is Wager Maker Podcast number 85. I don't know.
This is the one. I have to be honest. To the listeners, I'm always honest. I had to look this one up. And it's funny, there's not much, believe it or not. Ocho Cinco was on there. I'm not going that route just based off of the Ocho Cinco scenario. But Jack Youngblood did come to mind, and I remember, this is one of my childhood things. Antonio Gates is on there too. He's definitely worthy of it. But anyway, Jack Youngblood, I guess he did, I think it was either Brent Musburger or maybe even Howard Cosell before the Rams played the Steelers. Your Pittsburgh Steelers, Smith, and he
before
goes
before they lost to the Steelers.
And he had a broken leg, or did he break his leg in the game?
It was broke
when he played.
He had a broken leg or broken arm or something. Yeah.
So he just again, I think it was one of those and that's when Monday Night Football was the thing, and I was like in awe of it. And it was either maybe it was maybe it was Frank Gifford or one of those big time dudes that said describe Franco Harris, and he said super ugly. I don't know why I remember that. And they were talking about his broken leg. And I think he was sitting back in a cast almost at the time. But anyway, he was number 85. So I'm gonna give it up to him just for the ballsy comment on talking to one of the Monday Night Football heroes at that point.
Obviously, Ocho Cinco, Antonio Gates. But the first thing I thought of when I looked it up, Jack Youngblood, obviously, if he was playing the Steelers in the Super Bowl, we were probably 7, 8, 9 years old at the time. But I remember them being like, he's playing with a broken leg.
Yeah.
But it might have been an arm, but I was thinking
leg.
I was thinking leg too. Obviously, there's different severities of broken leg.
Right.
Obviously, he did not have a Joe Theismann.
Right.
Obviously, it wasn't a Joe Theismann working. But he played with a broken leg, played in the Super Bowl, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, Jack Youngblood, tough guy. One of those old school 70s tough guy defensive linemen. And we're 85, and I believe he was like a defensive end, like Russian pass rush.
Defensive end or a defensive tackle, one or the other for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, yeah, man, it's storming here. But
here comes the Wager Makers Express, right on time.
Oh, I haven't heard the Express in a while. I guess you don't hear that from the inside of your house, only when you're
back
in the garage.
In the garage. It's kind of cold. It's cold here. We had some nice weather. Debbie was out playing softball. I played some golf.
Nice.
But now we're back. It was 27 this morning here, Smith. 27
dude.
degrees. And I'll give you just a quick hint of life in Jersey that you missed. 37 degrees here in Spring Lake, New Jersey, as we speak right now, according to my telephone.
And here we're having an afternoon thunder.
Right, you're having a
summertime type
heat
thunderstorm going on.
Just so you know, I got a couple texts last night from Big Frank, Rev G, Gary Frangione, good friend of ours, the show. They are heading down to Jazz Fest, whenever that is. I don't know when that. Do you know when that is?
Jazz Fest is in October this year.
Yeah,
it's the last weekend of April, first weekend of May, but with this COVID and stuff, it is scheduled for October. So that'd be awesome.
That's exactly. Yep, that's it. We're going. Yeah, in October we're going to Jazz Fest. That's exactly what he said. 4 guys will be down there.
Dig it.
Big Frank and Gary, big fan of the show. Gary, I sent all of the info over today. I fully expect Gary to be involved in this $500 scenario since he made some money off us already this year. So.
Right. Just so you know, we already have a few people signed up already. I'm gonna go to our thing right now. We got about 6 entries, just getting started. Obviously, me and just for the record, me and Webb are eligible. All it means if we win is we don't pay out. This is not. Once again, this is not Disney. We are not Disney. We're not. Employees of the company can't be eligible. All that kind of shit. But me and Webb are each going to have only one pool. You'll be able to see the brackets. You'll be able to see them on there. There won't be any funny business.
My bracket's already in there.
Yeah,
I may change 1 or 2, but I mean.
Right. Mine too. I may end up changing one just from the course of discussion tonight.
Right.
But mine is already, it's set. I know who I have the winner as. I'm hoping it's not the same as you. Hey, do me a favor. Pull your screen down a little. You're starting to fall underneath the screen there. Let's see. There you
go. I want to try to get my background. I'm trying. The studio's still a work in progress. But
it's all work. Hey, brick by brick, baby. Brick by brick.
It's still a work in progress.
Can you tell I'm excited today? It's March Madness going on, bro.
I can't wait. Hey, I was a little bummed out today. Like I woke up, I'm like, damn. By 9 o'clock, we usually got a bunch of shit going. I'm like, fuck, we gotta wait. We got nothing. We got no 11:30 action, man.
We gotta wait till Thursday. And I guess there's probably some play-in games, probably usually Tuesday, Wednesday night, if I'm not mistaken. But
I thought the 18th was the earliest that I saw. When is that?
I don't know.
Today, the 15th.
It's got all the on the brackets. It's got all the teams, and then so all the 16s. So there must be 4 play-in games, kind of.
There are, yes, there are. That's. I think that was the same 2 years ago because last year there was nothing. But there is the other thing I was happy about. There is an NIT. I don't think there's any like CIB. There's usually like 4 or 5 tournaments, but there's only 2. We'll take it. We will definitely take it. The NIT starts as well. I'm going to pull up and see when the first action can be. But yeah, man, it's the best time of year. It's like I said, I was really excited last week just because everything that was going on and the weather was nice. It was sunny today, but just cold. So, but listen, it's not a year ago, so it's all good.
Right.
It's all good.
Right. Feels like there might be actually a light at the end of this COVID tunnel. But anyway, we got the teams in the bubble.
Let me interrupt you. I'm sorry. Yeah. We got March 17th. Looks like the early NIT starts. That's the first. And then the tournaments, then the play-in game is the 18th, I believe, Norfolk State. Nope, that's one before. Drake plays before that. 5:10 is the earliest game on the 18th for the NCAA. It's Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern. So 5:10 on the 18th, which is probably Thursday. Is that right?
I don't think the play-in game would be soon. Don't the games kick off on Thursday?
I think it's changed.
Oh, no. I'm going to have to check my whole schedule here and see.
Yes, the 18th is Thursday.
And that's a play-in game.
That's Texas Southern. Yes, those are those 4 games. There's Wichita State, Drake. 4 games that day.
All right. So I was planning out that I make sure I was unavailable for anything on Thursday and Friday day. Right. I guess I can reevaluate my schedule for the week and see how it goes.
How crazy is it that UCLA and Michigan are a play-in game? Michigan State is a play-in game.
Yeah, well, don't forget this. I think this is the first time since 1970 something that Duke and Kentucky were out of the
holy
tournament.
Shit, Smith too. They're going head to head. The NIT is going head to head with the NCAAs this year.
Well, I think the NIT isn't there only like about 10 teams in NIT this year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It's like very abbreviated NIT.
Maybe, but that's unheard of. They've never gone head to head. Wow, they're both. So we got a bunch of action on the 18th, and we're good.
All right. We just get done these conference tournaments, man. We had games all day long.
Dude, 11:30. I was
track on Sports Watch Monitor. We've been on that front home page almost every day. Either the hottest of the day, the hottest in the last 7 days. We dropped off. We had a rough day yesterday, but we've been on there constantly.
Smoking hot.
Up, so
last week was a huge week. And we'll be right back at it. Just listen, we had to
figure out a way to get you guys $500. Some of our sponsors didn't step up, so we had to take care of business on our own.
No, that's right. That's when the rubber hits the road, wager makers got you.
right. When you really need it, your back's against the wall.
Right.
So, all right, Webb. I guess we'll go kind of quadrant by quadrant. We won't reveal who we have going all the way until the end.
Right. Okay.
I'm hoping that we don't have the same. We talk so much and we talk a lot about the teams all season long, so we have the same views on a lot of things. Maybe some differences. The team that I have going all the way, I kind of spotted them midway through the season as a team that might have what it takes, and really they've been coming through down the stretch here, the last third of the season, playing good ball. Obviously, anything can happen. One thing that will be something to keep an eye out that could throw a monkey wrench into this whole thing is the COVID this year could be one of those things where if you're playing the next day, you're just going to have to drop out almost. If you're,
it's funny. I think just not a minute ago, but a little while ago, Gino Auriemma, whatever, the head coach of Yukon women, which is that's like Dean Smith, John Wooden, everybody rolled into one in terms of the college, the women's game. He has COVID or tested positive, so I don't know what that means for him. I don't know. I mean, the tournament's not that long, so I don't know what's going to happen with the protocols. I mean, listen, I don't know that they could probably roll the balls out, but there's been years they haven't won it, but they have been extremely dominant. So that definitely throws a crazy monkey wrench into it too. University of Virginia, they won it last year. The year before, they were the first team ever to lose to a 16. Yep. I'm not the biggest fan of Virginia, but just another thing out there. Did anything strike you, Smith? Or just glancing at it, I have just one feeling that I'd like to.
Well, for one, I'm not a big guy and gets all worked up on who made it and who didn't make it. I'm just throw the names on a line and let's start betting on which ones we.
I'm glad. I am. The solace I have is Duke didn't make it. The whining and the whatever bullshit did not pay off. I saw it come out when it was yesterday or the other day. I think I sent a text where it said, "Oh, Duke is eligible for the tournament." I'm like, "Here we go. The fix is in for the rat. He's going to be eating his cheese." But they didn't get in, justifiably so. So that's one thing I'm thankful for. But the thing that trucks me, man, is this East. I don't see anything. I don't see a strong team in there.
Right. Well, I got a team I like going in the East. It's not going to be Michigan, but we can get into that later.
Right,
I thought they peaked early, if that makes any sense. I think they had an injury during the Big Ten tournament, and they didn't look real good against Maryland. Actually, although they pulled it off.
That was a bad look for Juwan Howard too, man. He's talking about stepping to a guy like, dude, like you had a heart. You've been catered to since you've been in the 8th grade. You can tell me you grew up in Southside of Chicago. Okay. Right. Stop.
And like 7 foot tall dude punking down an old coach guy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you didn't talk to me. And coach was just like, listen, don't talk to me. Don't talk. Like, I ain't getting involved. Like, that's what he said. I don't know what was said exactly, but I think it started out he was mad at the ref, and then it turned out that they were arguing with the coaching bench.
Howard was stepping out of the box and just like, look, so I mean, the emotion then Juwan Howard had to bring it to a whole different level, like, a grown man.
I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of the Fab Four. I always have been. I think Juwan Howard has done an awesome job this year. Michigan, we were on Michigan a lot this year.
Up until that point, yeah, I had a lot of respect. I was not the biggest Fab Four fan. That was another thing that was, okay. But I respected his career, that what he did in the NBA, and I thought he was up until that point. I thought he was pretty much a stand-up dude. But that was a punk move. That kind of the not even that, not the heat of the moment. I all get it, but the shit he said afterwards was, to me, was a bunch of bitch shit. So
right. And another thing, I've been speaking to Juwan Howard. I'm getting kind of like, even though we're getting obviously old, all right, but I'm getting kind of a kick out of some of the
Father
coaches,
Time's undefeated.
Some of the coaches. When you talk about Patrick Ewing being in the tournament, I mean, that's a throwback for us from days. Juwan Howard, obviously we grew up watching these guys as players, and really like when we were young and really, really watching college hoops as total crazy fans and stuff like that, and the tournaments of the days of our youth, and even Rick Pitino brings Iona. He was a coach, back for years and stuff like that. He brings Iona into the tournament. I got a pretty good Rick Pitino story about you to you, Webb. Back when I was think right before high school, maybe sixth, seventh grade or something like that. I went to a basketball camp at Freehold Township High School. It was put on by these guys that were at Boston University. But at the time, I think he was an assistant. Rick Pitino might have been an assistant at the Knicks, or he might have been with the Knicks, but these guys played with him at BU. That's how anyway Rick Pitino started coming to this tournament. But he only spoke for about 5 minutes, but it was so insightful into the game of basketball because what he did was he goes, listen, I want to know who the best shot blocker. It was a camp, so there was about 100 kids there. Who's the best shot blocker? I want to know who he is. In this whole place, and Scott Conover was at this camp. And for those who don't know, Scott Conover went on to play at Purdue college football. He went on to play in the NFL, Detroit Lions for years. At the time, I think he was like he ended up being like 6'7", and when he was young, he was a string bean. But by the time he went through college and got to the pros, he was a big, huge guy.
I mean, I played in Smith in high school. I was a junior. I guess was he a senior? He was a dude. He would he could just he's a dude that could stand at the block and like. Double tomahawk, he was a man child. He was a dude. So, he was one of these dudes that he was a man.
Amazing, destined to be professional athlete and whatever. So he takes Scott. He's like, come here. So okay, everybody points to Scott Conover. That's the dude. That's the dude you're looking for. He plants him underneath the basket, and Rick Pitino stands at the block, just dribbling the ball. He's like, okay, I want you to block my shot. He's just putting him off the glass. He's not doing anything funny. And Scott Conover is standing there under the basket, trying to jump every time. And Pitino's getting the ball back. Just block my shot. And it's going it's going in the square, going in the square. He wasn't throwing nothing different. He wasn't arcing it. Nothing. All right. And his whole thing of trying to teach was, listen, I put you under the basket. You can't not possibly block my shot standing in that spot when I'm standing right here. It was all about positioning and knowing your spot on the floor. And it was just a 5-minute demonstration that he put on. But I'm 50 years old. I remember it today like it was yesterday. Scott Conover standing there, try like out of breath, trying to block the shot, and nobody really know why. How come he can't fucking just block this? And Rick Pitino wasn't even jumping; like he was catching it, just doing this. And it was just anyway, good story. I thought I'd throw that out there. So
that's a great story.
So anyway, Rick Pitino's in, brought Iona in. All right, we can get to the brackets. I'm still coming off. I'm going to join the ESPN local one that I was in a couple years ago. That I made it all the way to the finals. Made it to the tiebreaker, and the ESPN local radio, they pulled the name out of the hat. There was 2 people that tied, pulled the name out of the hat. It wasn't mine. And I would have won a flat screen TV and a year of meals at the Walk-Ons, which is Drew Brees' place here in New Orleans. I was going to get a $100 gift certificate every week.
Of course, you got a Drew Brees mentioning. Shocker.
Hey, man, I'm not trying. Shocker. The dude's retiring. I'm not even bringing that up.
Shocker. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, all right, let's get into this tournament. Let's start. I guess we'll start in quadrants. Where would you just like to start?
Tell me, what do you got? I mean, you want to?
I'm going to start in my weakest. What I feel is my weakest quadrant. That's the West, and that's the top left-hand side of this.
Yeah, fair enough. That's good. That is not my weakest. I don't feel like. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So obviously we have. I would think that we have Gonzaga. I've been told you my views about Gonzaga and how they usually get knocked out. One of the girls I think that's going to be joining this thing, I've been knowing her for 20-something years, and she's been in the tournament and in some of the bracket pools I've run for 20-something years. She takes Gonzaga going all the way, all the time. I'm like, how many times are you going to get knocked out by Gonzaga? Right. She said, I feel good about this year. So anyway, obviously I have no Gonzaga going on.
So what's your thoughts on Norfolk State and App State?
I have really no thoughts on those, but I know that you like Norfolk State.
I've been on them several times.
You've been on them a bunch this year, and I know that.
All right, so.
But yes, I don't think that's going to affect our scoring.
It will not. It doesn't matter, which is kind of weird. But that's yes. I mean that sucks. That should be. I mean, it's a legitimate tournament game, so there should be some
half a point, anything,
some acknowledgement towards it. Right. But obviously, the Zags are not losing that game, though.
I think the problem is sometimes the extra day will allow us to get more entries into these bracket pools. Is what?
Sure. Right. Well, I guess that's the whole. It's more eyes on it. Yeah. That's just another TV fucking thing.
All right. So moving down, we got 8 and 9. We got Oklahoma and Missouri. You've been on Oklahoma a lot this year. They really let us down a stretch, I thought.
You mentioned peaking early. I mean, they were hot. They were on fire. Scott Weekly, he was on Oklahoma State peaked. I think that may be another one of those teams too. But Oklahoma's going to win this game. Missouri, I'm not. They're okay, but I just think Oklahoma's going to win. I got Oklahoma in that game.
Okay, well, I took Missouri. I've been on Missouri a lot this year. I think they have the goods to beat almost anybody if they play.
What's the coach's name again? Quasi Martin?
Quanzi Martin, I think. Quanzo. Yeah.
He's-
So anyway, they have a senior-led team, pretty much a veteran team. You don't see that all the time. And the problem is, we're going to get into that later. But because I have Missouri and because of my not dislike kind of for Gonzaga, that's going to screw me over later on. But we'll get to that in a second. So the next game is the Big East Creighton against UCSB.
12 beats 5s. 12 beats 5s. I got UCSB in this one. I got Santa Barbara winning this game.
Okay, I took Creighton. To me, there's always upsets, but to try and pick them is very tough. I think the upsets are overblown. You're better off. This is my tip for those out there. You're better off to stay less on the upsets, picking them. But hey, no problem with UCSB. No problem. I'm not a big fan of Creighton either, but I'm taking Creighton.
Creighton ain't no good. And the Big East in general is no good. And I disagree. There's going to be a ton of upsets.
Well, I agree in that, but trying to
you can't pick them. So if you're going to just you're better off going upsets.
Either go all upsets or all not. Right. Okay. So Creighton, I have Creighton. The next one's Virginia and Ohio.
That's an easy one. Virginia's going to win that game.
Right. Moving on, you got USC versus the winner, I guess, of Wichita and.
All right, this is the one that it took me a long time to even. I think I may even change it. I may end up taking Drake, but at this point I have USC written down. But I may, and I think in the one I did online, I think I have Wichita State, and now I've been on Drake a lot. I may even go back, but as of now, I have written down on this sheet of paper right here. It says USC. I think on what I have online that I did this afternoon is Wichita State, but I'm going to ask for some leeway. It doesn't really matter as we move on, but
well, we know because once it's set in, our brackets will be set in the computer, untouchable. Once day comes up, we may, like I said, I may make some adjustments to this bracket when it comes. But the next game is I have USC. I have USC going on in that one. But the next game is Kansas versus Eastern Washington.
That's an easy one, Kansas. I got that.
Yep. And then we have VCU. I watched them in their conference tournament quite a bit. They have one dude that's just a really amazing player. They came up short against St. Bonaventure. But that being said, I have Oregon. I've been watching a lot of those Pac-12 games lately. Colorado's pretty good, and Oregon's pretty good. I'm not a big fan of USC or UCLA, but I like Oregon, and I like Oregon in this game.
I'm on VCU. I'm not a Pac-10 fan in general I guess in any sport, I guess at this point. VCU that's where Shaka Smart got his claim to fame, who parlayed that into a nothing career at Texas. We'll get to that later. You mentioned some like from the heyday from back. Bryce Drew was the coach of Baylor, and he had I don't know what team. I forget the team escapes me. Who it wasn't. He played on one of these teams that had a miracle run there.
Valparaiso. What about Valparaiso?
Valpo. Yes. And I kind of grouped them with.
Me too. Fine.
That's why I brought that up. VCU. Yeah. Anyways, again, this is an early game. I'm trying to, upset the apple cart a little bit, kind of. And the Pac-10 does not impress me in any way, shape, or form. So VCU was the pick for me there.
All right, going on to the bottom of that bracket, Iowa. I got Iowa going with
it. Grand Canyon. That's a good story. It's one of those. I mean, it's like an online college type thing, and they can recruiting. You're not really worried about the academics. And it's funny. Thunder Dan Marley used to be the head coach there. He got fired. How do you get fired if you're Thunder Dan Marley from Grand?
He was
Canyon?
probably pulling some Les Miles.
Yeah. There had to be some undergrad, co-ed situation.
Hello, do you know my name is Thunder Dan? You know why they call me Thunder Dan?
You see my tan? Do you know how tan it was when I played for the Phoenix
Suns? Live that Arizona life out there for sure for the Phoenix Suns.
But again, Iowa, that seems to be easy enough. Now, we're not talking spread here, but let's make sure
Oh yeah, this is bracket pool only. We'll be coming out with spread picks when we get there.
I'm not talking. This is not with numbers.
Okay, so we'll go back to the top of that area, and so So you either have like so you said you had Oklahoma.
Going to go all the way to the Final Four on this one, or you want to?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
So we'll go to back to the top of that in the West bracket. And Webb, you would have Gonzaga versus Oklahoma. I think.
Yes, I got the Zags winning this one too. This is a tough one too. Oklahoma, guys, I was on them. They were hot, and I rode them, and then they severely cooled off. But Gonzaga, and again, they haven't been tested, so this is I tread lightly on this one. But I took Gonzaga.
Okay, and this is where my talking shit about Gonzaga all year long. At some point, I had to pay the piper and decide to get them knocked out. I may do it in the next round against Virginia, but for right now, I have Missouri going to the next line over Gonzaga in this game. That's probably not the best pick, but right now I have Missouri. And then
I wouldn't be shocked. That wouldn't shock me one way or the other if Oklahoma or Missouri would win that game either. I mean, that is a little early for Gonzaga. That they just don't play anybody. They got hurt, man, by that non-conference schedule. That
right.
And the game that they said was, am I doing air quotes here? Tested was they win by 12 or 10, but that's not a test against BYU in a so-called conference championship. So that will hurt them.
Right.
I think.
So go down to the next one. I have Virginia beating Creighton would be my game. So your game is going to be Virginia versus UCSB.
Yeah, it's Santa Barbara. Virginia's going to win that game. So that's why those couple of games there. I didn't sweat them too much. I do think Gonzaga and Virginia gets through both of that, so it will be Virginia versus Gonzaga there at that point.
Right, and I think we can just fill out that bracket right there. So I have Missouri beating Virginia and moving on to the final 8, the Elite 8 in that section right there. Just so you know.
Virginia.
But I might change it to Virginia. I may change it to Virginia.
Virginia is very much a system team. They do that with that crazy defense to slow the ball, take you out of the ball type thing. They used to be a couple years ago, their unders were like 110 or something like that.
We love the under with Virginia.
Yeah.
No matter what.
But I don't know that that's going to work against Gonzaga. Against a team that doesn't, they don't know Gonzaga. Again, the argument is Gonzaga doesn't know them. But I do have Gonzaga beating Virginia there. I just still have the Tony Bennett losing to the 16 2 years ago in my mind. So that's a hard thing for me to get out of there.
If it does come to Virginia versus Gonzaga, though, I could see Virginia being that kind of team that could really throw Gonzaga for a loop, just in that they haven't seen a team with defense like that. They seem to they can shut almost anybody down when they're controlling the pace, and
Yeah, but they also have to score. I mean, it's different. Yeah. That's yes, I get it. But I see both sides to that coin there. Yep, I get it. I hear it. But
okay, so we'll move down a little bit to the next section where I have USC plays Kansas, and I guess you have the Wichita or Drake.
Well, I do have, like I said, I do. I'm not sure on that one. Either way, I'm going to have Kansas win this game. So.
Exactly, me too. Kansas moves on for me too. Move down a little further. I have Oregon against Iowa, and I actually have Oregon knocking off the big man Garza and Iowa. So I have Oregon moving on to play Kansas.
I don't. I have Iowa. I think they're battle tested. They were, kind of a cool pick for number one early on. Garza took his lumps. He's not an NBA player. Blah blah blah. And they did lose some games early on, but they're tough. They're fighters. Starting with him, it's not going to be an easy road. And again, my Pac-10 anti Pac-10 bias comes into play. It's going to be an Iowa team that's going to fist fight you with a big dude in the middle. I'm not saying it's going to be ugly or going to be pretty, but I'll take Iowa in that all day long in that game.
All right. Well, I'm taking Oregon. All right. We'll move back. So then I got we got that Kansas and Oregon matchup, or in your case, it's Kansas and Iowa.
Correct.
I surprisingly have Oregon moving on, but here's the only reason. I'm afraid with Kansas has already a little bit of a COVID issue this week. What happens if that catches on and one other dude catches some COVID in there? What happens? That's why I got Oregon. I got Oregon moving on. I didn't want to lose a chance of having somebody on that Elite 8 line, so I took Oregon.
That's interesting. I mean, I have Kansas here, Kansas against Iowa. I just think they're bad. Bill Self's a great coach. He needs a very good March coach. Apples to apples, I think they match up well. I just put it all together. I said Kansas based on their experience and just Kansas being Kansas and Iowa being Iowa. Kansas would win out. But that does give me some pause, what you said. And I may flip that to Iowa. But at this point, it's Kansas.
Okay, which takes us to the Final Four game. In my bracket right now, I have Missouri versus Oregon, which could turn into Virginia versus Kansas at some point. But I'm just letting you know right now. Again, this is my weakest. I won't be making all these flip-flops in the next round, the other three quadrants. I'm just doing in this one. But actually, right now, I have Oregon going to the Final Four, but that could change to Kansas. It will not be. It could change to Kansas or Virginia. It will not be Gonzaga, but right now I have Oregon going to the Final Four.
All right, I got the Zags here. That will not be changing one way or the unless they catch COVID between now and whatever day. I may, as we get closer, I may pull a last minute Iowa over Kansas type thing. But Gonzaga for me is absolutely the Final Four team. That did not give me pause at all. That was not my weakest bracket.
Okay, fair enough. So now I told you my weakest bracket. So in the West, I may still be making some adjustments. So let's just move down. This one I feel pretty good about. But you said this is the one that you're having some issues.
This is I don't really see a good team here at all.
Okay, so we'll start at the top. Obviously, we have Michigan going the first round.
Yes, of course.
Okay, and then we got the Bonnies versus the Tigers of LSU.
I'm on the Bonnies there.
Oh, I got LSU because I think they're pretty darn good.
Shocker.
Dude, they got athletes. They got NBA type athletes at every position. Okay. All right. Colorado, Georgetown next.
I'm sticking with the 12s beats 5s. Again, it's that bias. I've had Colorado a couple times. They've let me down. Georgetown's hot. I think maybe that thing at the Garden lit some kind of fire under Ewing. I mean, again, this is a limited window for either team, but I'll take G-Town here.
Right. I think winning the Big East tournament was the championship for Georgetown. I like Colorado. They got a mostly senior team. I've watched a lot of late night Pac-12 hoops the last couple weeks. Colorado's a solid team all around. They got guys that can do a lot of things. Came up with a nice win against USC, and then moving on against Oregon State in that championship game. So I got Colorado. The next one is Florida State, who basically won the ACC against UNC Greensboro.
Yeah, I mean, this is I mean, obviously I watched this tournament extremely closely. It's very hard, and this is not going to be the first time here. It's very hard to pick a team that turns the ball over every other time and can't shoot. But I take them to win this game. So, right. And it's not going to be the first time you hear me say that. So they come in waves. He's a good coach, underrated coach. They're a good team, regardless, despite what I just said. So FSU's the pick there.
All right. Next one is BYU versus the winner of Michigan State and UCLA.
Now here's where I'm going to backpedal on you. I have UCLA written here. I do like the coach, Crennan or whatever his name is. BYU could easily win this game. BYU could win this game and the next game. Michigan State could win this game and then lose to BYU. Michigan State could win this game and the next game. Right. So I have UCLA written down here. I think on paper, I think I probably have BYU online. I think I have BYU winning. This is my bracket where I'm going to ask for some, I don't know. I got UCLA written here. The more I think about it, it's fine here. Yeah, UCLA.
Right now I have BYU on the line, but I could easily see Michigan State and Tom Izzo just coming here and being like, why are we playing this bullshit? And just whooping some. I'm not a fan of UCLA, but UCLA could certainly beat BYU.
Cronin's a good coach.
And Michigan State is, they had a really bad start, and then it looked like they were really coming on, and then kind of fizzled out towards the end. But they could certainly decide, okay, well, now it's the time we're going to start playing. Obviously, they have athletes. Yeah. Obviously, they have everything they would need normally to do everything. They just didn't get it together this year. So they certainly could beat a UCLA and a BYU team very, very easily. But right now I have BYU on the line. But I'm kind of thinking when I did the bracket, I was just assuming that was one of those play-in games. But Michigan State, I could see me putting those on the bracket later on. The next game is Texas versus Abilene. I know you've been on Abilene a few times this year too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, I like those those weird teams. I do. I believe. I mean, they're 23-4. That's gaudy. I'm not a Shaka Smart fan. He cannot coach. I don't care what anyone says. He's still living off that VCU thing. He can recruit. He gets pros every year, but he can't coach. they're going to win this game just based off of that. They're just better athletes, bigger program. It's by the virtue of being a bigger program, they're going to win that game. But I don't have them making a move. I'll tell you that right now.
Right. I got Texas winning this one, and then we'll get to next. The next game is Yukon versus Maryland.
This came down to me is I'm not a really big Maryland guy or Yukon. I'm not a Big East guy or whatever. Yukon's in AA. Is it the Big East or AA, whatever it is? I took Maryland just based off the conference.
I took Maryland too. I thought they played some tough games against some of the bigger teams in the ACC.
Right. That's a tough schedule.
Or actually, Big Ten. I think Maryland's Big Ten, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, some of the tougher, like down the stretch, they played some.
They have a hell of a schedule. Yeah.
Right. So I took Maryland. The next game, we talked about Rick Pitino and Iona making a run. Alabama is one of those teams, Webb, early in the season. When you're talking about the first quarter of the season, I was like, man, this is a team really we could watch out for. They had athleticism down low. They shoot the crazy 3 points, really good 3-point percentage. And really their coach's whole philosophy is if it's not a layup or a 3-pointer, you don't shoot it. You don't see any mid-range game out of Alabama. And early in the season, they were really good. They really struggled midway through, but then they came through and won the SEC conference tournament. So maybe they're getting some stuff back together. So I went with Alabama in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not going to win this game. And Alabama is one of those streaky teams where this is a number 2 seed. I'm not buying that. That's why this bracket sucks. Michigan's not a number 1 seed either. Alabama's going to win this game, but you're not going to win this tournament that way. And for them to be a number 2 seed, you need to at least have a shot to win it, and they don't. So that's why I don't like this whatever the East bracket. So, but Bama for sure.
Okay, well, in a few minutes we'll probably get to the point where we disagree pretty big on this bracket.
Right.
All right, we'll go back to the top. And we're now we got a matchup with Michigan versus the Bonnies or LSU.
Yeah, I got Michigan and the Bonnies. Michigan wins either way. Michigan's going to get this game.
Okay, well, I this here's where I took LSU. I thought they played really well in the SEC tournament. I think they have really good athletes on that team. Sometimes they do foolish things, but man, they have players at every position. They're long. They have guys that can shoot. They have guys that can do things. They went toe to toe with Alabama in the SEC championship. Came up a little short, but I think to me, I just don't think Michigan is playing as good now as they did even a couple weeks ago, and that's just coming off of a loss to Ohio State. And I think they struggle against Maryland in the first game of the Big Ten championship. I have LSU moving on to the Sweet 16 over here. And moving down, I have Colorado beating Florida State in the next game.
I got FSU beating Georgetown. So that's, and again, this is not my strongest. And again, it's very hard. Again, I'm picking a team that can't shoot and turns the ball over. So,
all right. Moving on, I have Texas beating whoever comes out of that section. Not a fan of Texas. I just think they're better out of those 4 teams in that little section there. I have Texas moving to the Sweet 16.
This is where I really struggled because I think online I have BYU beating Texas. I have UCLA written here. I have UCLA beating Texas just based off of the head coaches. I'm going to stick with it, even despite what I've said. I have it written down. That's why I'm going to stick with it. There's something funky is going to happen in one of my brackets, and this for me is the funky. This is Funky Town.
Right. Okay, moving on. I like Alabama over Maryland in the next game.
I do not. I went with Maryland just based off of the SEC is no good. And Bama is, we're not playing football. Maryland, they have a very tough schedule, so I just took Maryland.
Okay, move back to the top of that section to the final 8. You say the SEC is no good. I say I like the athletes. I'm going LSU versus Alabama.
I am so surprised, Smith, that you took that LSU.
LSU versus Alabama.
I could have picked that 3 months ago. Holy shit.
Well, when let's see, when March 29th and 30th rolls around, we can talk about it. See what happens.
Sure.
Right. The cool thing is we're gonna have this. This will be here. We can talk shit about each other's brackets starting next week. Really,
right.
On next week's show. So I have LSU playing Alabama in like that final. I guess it would be the final 8 game to see who goes to the final 4.
All right. I have FSU playing UCLA in that game.
So you sit here, you talk about how bad you think the Pac-12 is.
I don't think there's
UCLA, who's like not even good in the Pac-12, going to the final.
I don't think there's and online. I think I have BYU going. There's not a good team in that entire bracket.
All right, I like LSU and Alabama, but we'll keep going. Hey, let's keep going. Hey, the dust is going to settle in a few weeks. We're going on record here.
FSU is the best team in that bracket. I'll say that.
Okay. Because of the ACC bias on this show?
How am I biased? What bias?
All right.
I don't live in fucking Florida State.
Yeah, but North Carolina lives in your head. That's
yeah.
All right, so I have LSU playing Alabama to get to the Final Four, and I have Alabama once again beating LSU for the third time this season, once in a regular season, at least once, and then in the SEC championship. And moving to the Final Four is Alabama, the 2 seed out of the East.
Yeah, I got FSU get beaten UCLA there.
All right.
So I got the Zags and FSU on the left side.
All right. So far, I have Oregon and Alabama, but the Oregon is subject to change. I'm letting you know that, right?
Yeah. FSU is not going to change, but how I got there is probably could change. But
okay. All right, we'll move to the South. That's like the top right hand side of the column.
Yep.
Baylor, you've been liking Baylor all year, and then so I'm assuming Baylor top play there.
Baylor, that's not even going to be close. That's going to be one of these 40-point games. I don't know. Okay. Hartford doesn't even have a play in. That's crazy. But yeah, no, that's easy. That's easy.
Move down. As much as you love North Carolina, you're also their harshest critic. You tell me every day, don't ever bet North Carolina. Pretty much.
I'm all over Wisconsin. It's another team.
Really?
Right. Can't shoot, can't and turn it over. They're
all right. I have UNC moving to the next line, but that's as far as they go. Next one is Villanova versus Winthrop.
Nova's got some issues, right? Isn't a dude out?
Gillespie's out, their point guard, and maybe somebody else.
They'll win this game, but this is going to be a tight one. I mean, that's a gaudy 23-1 for Winthrop, but I mean, he can coach. He'll coach them through this win.
All right. Easy. Well, I've seen them. They've deteriorated in the last month or so. I have Winthrop actually knocking off Villanova.
Wouldn't shock me.
So that's funny. Is you got your team getting knocked out in the first round, and I got my team knocking out. We're not impressed by our teams this year. Yeah. Next team I like. I've been on them a lot lately. Purdue plays North Texas. I have Purdue winning this game.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've been a Purdue fan, since back in the day. I always had like a tough grind. Even Glenn Robinson, even back there's a couple guys before them that were real tough. Yeah, I like Purdue. I mean, North Texas is kind of weird. That's just one that can maybe bite us in the ass. I'm just completely ignoring that. But yeah, Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue's been hot down a stretch. I had them a few different games going down a stretch. Were pretty good for us. I think they knocked off a bunch of teams the last month of the season. Got a big old 7-foot young freshman dude in the center that can really score when they really need a basket. They go to him and he's good around the hole.
I mean, that conference is brutal.
Yeah, constant. Next game going down, Texas Tech versus Utah State.
I mean, Utah State, they got 20 wins. They've been tough. I don't know if we bet on them. I had a lot of pause betting against them. I'll say that. But Texas Tech.
There's another guy with a great big man in the middle, Utah State. But I don't think they'll have enough to beat Texas Tech. I'm not a big fan of Texas Tech this year. They lost me a lot of money. But I like Texas Tech in this game. Next, moving on, a team that played pretty good in the SEC, Arkansas versus Colgate.
Yeah, I think they were the last game yesterday or whatever it was. What's dude's Musselman? He's been around the block 75 times. They'll win this game. I don't know. This is a little bit. This is a little funky little pocket of the bracket here. I got Arkansas win this game for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Next, we got a good matchup: SEC Florida versus ACC Virginia Tech.
I think Virginia Tech's vastly underrated. They have a couple of pros on that team. They're going to win this game. Florida, I think they're still kind of shook from what happened early on with that player, and I don't blame them. That is something that can affect the season. Kudos to them for fighting through that. I just don't have them winning this game.
Yep, fair enough. I got Florida in this one, but this is a toss-up. 10-7, kind of a toss-up to me. I could easily see Virginia Tech moving.
That's a shit. Let me backtrack. That's a shit seed for Virginia Tech, and that's a shit seed for North Carolina.
8.
That's what
So
I'm
what
saying.
seed do you think they should be?
7.
You think North Carolina should be 7?
North Carolina should be a 7, and I mean Virginia Tech should be definitely. I mean an 8 maybe. I think they're better
I don't care,
than Florida.
man. You got to play them. Go play.
I hear that.
All you got to do is go win.
Yeah, but it's a big difference.
Ohio State versus Florida. Ohio State versus Oral. I got Ohio State, obviously.
Yeah, Oral Roberts, 16-10. I guess did they win their conference or whatever? This is another one. This is going to be 100-60. Ohio State.
Right. Move back to the top. In my bracket, I have Baylor versus North Carolina. I guess you have Baylor versus Wisconsin. I have Baylor moving on to the Sweet 16.
Yeah. That's regardless. They're winning. Yep.
And then I have Purdue fairly easily moving on to the Sweet 16, just based off that little section. I don't think Winthrop's going to have enough to beat them. And if Villanova makes it from that side, they're definitely not going to have enough to beat them. I have Purdue going to the Sweet 16 to play Baylor.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, moving on. I have Arkansas actually moving in that spot and beating Texas Tech to go to the Sweet 16.
I got T-Tech beating Arkansas. Defense is going to shut down that SEC situation.
We obviously have a different disagreement there about the SEC, which is fine. We'll see how it plays out. I am a huge fan of the Big Ten. I'm not putting down the Big Ten at all. I don't think Texas Tech is up there with the cream of the crop of the Big Ten.
Texas Tech's not the Big Ten.
The Big 12 or whatever. All right, Big 12. Then I definitely like Arkansas. Put it that way.
Yeah.
All right. So moving. Well, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to this conversation in a second because I have Ohio State going on to play Arkansas in the Sweet 16. Put it that way.
I got Ohio State there as well. And it's funny. I mean, if I would have had, you want to put Virginia Tech in that next line between where I'd have Virginia Tech playing Ohio State. But anyways, Ohio State wins this game.
Okay, and then moving on, I have Baylor beating Purdue to go to the Final 8, the Elite
Correct.
8.
Yep, me too.
And then I have Arkansas beating Ohio State.
Oh, no way. You're out of your mind. Ohio State wins. Ohio State easy.
All righty. There we go. So then when we go to the next round, I have Baylor beating Arkansas to have Baylor on the line of the Final Four from the South.
Ohio State beats Baylor. So Ohio State's in the Final Four.
All right. There you
so
go.
right now I have Ohio State, Gonzaga, and FSU, and you have Oregon.
I have Baylor, Alabama, and Oregon, but Oregon may change.
Right.
But I'm firmly in Baylor and Alabama on those two.
My 3 Final Fours are good. I'm solid.
All right. Yeah, you're liking your bracket even more now that you're looking at it again. Is that what's
No.
going
I'm just saying. I have a lot of question marks, but not once it gets to that point.
Right.
I mean, that's bullshit because if Ohio State was in the East or the East, the more I look at, it's a bullshit bracket. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, especially because Michigan to me is not playing well.
Right.
Right. All right. So moving on, we'll go down to the Midwest. Illinois plays Drexel. I'm a fan. Move on, Illinois.
Yeah, I mean this gets weird where the COVID comes into it. Like Illinois, just forget Illinois played 29 games and Drexel's played 19 games. Like you can't. The rate by there, Illinois is going to win the game. I mean, Illinois.
Not only that, Illinois have been
they're
the
fucking
gauntlet.
good.
The Big Ten this year is the gauntlet. The gauntlet.
And the only time they missed when the dude broke his nose, he's playing like Batman. Dude looks like a fucking like a backyard superhero.
And they say he's like loving it. Like he's one of those like comic book fans.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm digging. I'm the Batman or whatever the hell. He's loving it.
That's cool.
And we'll get into Illinois more because I'll be talking about them later on. I hope. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen later on down the stretch. But next game, Georgia Tech versus Loyola Chicago. I have the Yellow Jackets moving on to this line.
Ah, man, I got whatever. This is with the nun, right? This is a team with the nun, the old lady. Well, anyways.
No idea. That's how much I know about Loyola Chicago.
Yeah, 24-4 guy. I mean, Georgia Tech. They won, like you said. Who'd you say? Georgetown won their good.
Right.
Season over.
Right.
Break the champagne for Georgia Tech. They won.
There you go.
I
have Tennessee beating Oregon State.
Yep.
I have Oklahoma. The Fighting Scott Wheatleys play Liberty in the first round, and I have Oklahoma State going on.
I had to do this. Liberty wins this. I had to.
I love it. Oh, that's funny. Scott Wheatley is gonna have. Scott Wheatley's been living it up in the dorm.
He's gonna burn the dorm room around. He's gonna the river dorm, whatever it is. The dorm is
We're going to hear about a riot in
There's
Oklahoma.
going to be a
State.
toilet paper flying around the hallway.
Wait till Liberty knocks off the Cowboys. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
All right. San Diego State plays Syracuse.
It's an interesting game, but I got SDSU there. Again, Syracuse is. They seem to me just doing it. They got one player. It's always they're doing it with bubble gum and duct tape type thing, and they're lucky to be here. Having said that, a lot of times that teams win a game, but they're just not that good, quite frankly. I think San Diego State gets that one done.
I actually like San Diego State as a team. They beat me in a game early in the season. I think it was like UCLA or something like that. Really looked good. I've been following them all season long. But however,
is Steve Fisher still the coach?
I don't know.
He was the coach of the Fab Five back in the day. He might be dead.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a long time ago. But could be. I don't know for sure.
He was the coach,
right.
For sure.
But Syracuse is the kind of team that come tournament time. I thought they shut down North Carolina a week ago. They shut down Clemson a week ago. Boeheim's son is like stroking threes all over the place, and they play that crazy matchup zone defense.
It's weird. Yeah.
For some reason,
the layoff hurt them. If they played today, different.
Right. So I have Syracuse actually winning that 11-6.
I wouldn't.
Next, we have West Virginia versus Moorhead.
I'm a big Bobby Huggins fan, especially in May. Moorhead State, that's a gaudy number 2, 23 wins. I've been on them several times. And you're in the big leagues now, and Huggins can coach at this time of year. And it's not like West Virginia's bad. I'm on West Virginia.
Too many athletes for West Virginia. They'll move on. Webb, I have Rutgers beating Scarlet Nuts beating Clemson in this game coming up.
I am a huge fan. This is probably the second best season in Rutgers history. Little funny note: the last time they made the NCAA tournament, Smith, Lee Perry was on the team.
Oh, man. Lee Perry, awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Talking about the same graduating class as Scott Conover from early.
Yeah, they both
had a good basketball team.
They both dunked on me in practice.
Yeah.
More than once. So I do have appreciation for both of them. Lee was cool when we went to college. I'll give him that too. Yes, I mean this is one of the teams that I'm looking at their record. 15-11 does not do them justice. It's an incredibly tough conference. But this team, I think, Smith, more than any other team in college basketball, missed the fact that there were no fans. I had the girls 2 or 3 games last year. It's an incredibly tough place. Even though it holds, I think, $12,000. The rack is it's kind of like set down. It's a really hard place to play. So I think had we had some fans, their record would be different. But not having said, still, a 10-seed NCAA tournament for Rutgers is not bad. I think Rutgers gets by Clemson, who is it's going the other way. And that's a shit seed, too. They do not deserve 7.
Love the rack. Love Rutgers. I got Rutgers going on.
Yeah, me too.
Next pick, we've been on Houston a bunch this year. They get double-digit victories over all the crappy competition. They kind of didn't get a couple of them at the end. I laid off a little bit in the conference tournaments. I almost jumped on, but they won us some money this year. They got double-digit wins over a lot of people. I know you've been on, I think, Cleveland State a few times this year.
I have.
But I have Houston going to this line.
I have Houston win this game. Cleveland State's been pretty good to me. Houston as well. But the thing with Houston, they're laying 18, 19. They're the same with Gonzaga. So I haven't really bet them too much. Well, I should have because they're hot. They're hot right now. They'll win this game going away. This is a tough matchup for Cleveland State, just timing wise, because they're stroking.
Okay, moving over to the top of this bracket, I have Illinois beating Georgia Tech.
Illinois, over Loyola, Chicago, in a tougher matchup than you may think.
Okay. Next, I have this Fighting Scott Wheatley's beating Tennessee in the next matchup.
I'm not a Rick Barnes fan. Fuck him, a matter of fact. But Tennessee does win this game. They get through Liberty. Or the Fighting Scott Wheatley's, this is where they're lucky to be here. The Cinderella slipper, they appealed their whatever that got the kid there anyway with the coach, the whole fucking shenanigans. The bottle drops or whatever, the balloon pops, one way or the other, Tennessee wins.
Okay. Moving down one, I have West Virginia beating Syracuse. Your matchup would be West Virginia versus San Diego State.
Bobby Huggins, baby.
All right.
Fair enough. The fighting Nick Perones. The fighting Nicholas Perones.
Yep. And then as much as I like Houston, I think they've been playing lesser competition all year. I actually have Rutgers coming up with a little upset in this one, and I have Rutgers going to the Elite Eight, or that's the Sweet 16, I guess it is, over Houston in this one.
I would love for that to happen. It's not going to, but I would love for that to happen. Houston, again, is just too hot. You know, as long as they haven't cooled off between now and then, that game back-to-back type thing or whatever the schedule is, I can't really read the dates. It's just too much for Rutgers. The home game, different story, but that's, you know, and again, Rutgers, a win, they're going to be floating. So I would love to see it, but I don't see it. So I'm on Houston there.
Fair enough. The next round, I have Illinois beating the Fighting Scott Wheatleys and going to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, yep.
And then I have West Virginia beating the Scarlet Knights to go to the Elite Eight as well.
I wouldn't, you know, like I said, Huggins is good. He's a very underrated coach in my opinion. I just have Houston beat him. I think there's too athletic. I think, you know, it's a good season. You know, it's a 16, I guess, for WVU. I just think they've been a very close game. They can't get it done against Houston. There's just too much.
All right, fair enough. I kind of got myself into a jam here, not getting Houston knocked out early, but that's the way. Yeah, you got to make some picks here once in a while.
That's right.
So then,
Kelvin Sampson's a great coach, man.
Yep.
You can't. He's good.
I have Illinois beating West Virginia, going to the Final Four.
Yeah, I got Illinois over Houston.
Yep. All right, so now my Final Four is set. Other than maybe in the West, I might change. Baylor, Illinois, Alabama, and Oregon. But that could be Kansas. That could be Gonzaga. That could be Virginia. Just so we know.
Right. So you
have not made my final decision on that.
You're real sure. I have from left down the Gonzaga, FSU, back up Ohio State and Illinois.
All right, fair enough. So moving on, we'll start on the left-hand side. Like I say, I have Oregon against Alabama. That might come in to haunt me now that I'm looking at this closely.
Right.
And I have Alabama going to the championship game.
Whatever. Something's going on in New Orleans. We all need to get down there because that shit ain't never happening. I got Gonzaga. Finally, now I can, you know, walk what I talk with the team that can't shoot and turn the ball over. Florida State loses. And the only reason I had them there was based off that shitty fucking bracket. Gonzaga beats Florida State on that side. So I got Gonzaga on the left side.
Okay. And then, so you got Gonzaga going all the way to the championship at least.
Right.
And then I have Illinois beating Baylor to go to the championship game on the right.
I have Illinois beating Ohio State in the Final Four there on the right side.
All right. So I got a feeling I see what's this is fucked up because now we're gonna have to I'm gonna have to usually I rely on the championship game to win my championship. Now I'm gonna have to beat you in the early rounds to and I might have to rework the West a little bit. I'm not gonna rework it to the point where Gonzaga's in there. I'm not gonna do that.
I have some minor work to be done as well, but I'm not I'm fine. My Final Four is pretty much set.
All right. So I have now Illinois beating Alabama in the national championship.
And I got Illinois beating Gonzaga in the national championship.
Let me tell you something. They got a good freshman point guard. They got the dude with the mask. They got Cockburn. I love saying Cockburn. I don't know why. I love saying it. There's nothing good about Cockburn. There's only bad things. They say it differently on TV. They say Coburn or Kerburn. Look at the dude's name. It's Cockburn. And he is a bad man in the middle. And they just have the pieces. They have some guys that can shoot. They have guys that can create on their own. They have a beast in the middle. I like Illinois. I've been liking them early in the season.
Yeah, we were on them.
They just showed up this last couple weeks.
Yeah, we didn't talk about. There's no. It doesn't help us.
We did not talk about.
First of all, it doesn't help us anyway.
Right. We'd be better off having two different teams going all the way.
You know, obviously there's a bunch of differences along the way. We both liked Illinois early on. They did have a bit of lull. It did coincide when the dude got hurt, the masked man.
Yeah.
But they're back. I do like the coach. I mean, I've said it 50 times already. That's the toughest conference in the country. I mean, they do have to run a little bit of a gauntlet to get. Houston is no joke. Tennessee is tough. And Ohio State or Baylor is, again, they're two good teams there too. So, yep, I got Illinois. I mean, to me, that's real solid.
Yep. To me, looking at that Midwest region is almost the most powerful of them all. I think when you got teams like Illinois and Tennessee and Oklahoma State, West Virginia and Houston. I mean, there's 4 or 5 teams in that one section that could be like 2s and 3s.
Like if you put them, any one of those, even in West Virginia, I mean, anyone on the other into that East, and that's my other Final Four team. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so there you have it. Look. Check out. If you need the link, we'll send it to you. Just let us know. All you got to do is get a couple of subscribers, but don't worry about that now. Just get your brackets in.
Right.
Get on the link. Get your brackets in. We'll worry about getting the 2 subscribers.
You get in and you get subscribed and you get your bracket in.
Right.
Then we'll hound you.
Right. Then I'll hound you during the conference, during the tournament. We'll be like, hey man, just get 2 people to subscribe to the damn thing. Let's go.
Right.
And so that's that. Well, there you see. Like I said, the West for me, I might mess around with a little bit. I'm not going to mess it around to the point where Gonzaga makes it to the Final Four, because that would be cheating at this point. But and now you know what we have too. So you even have an advantage.
You use our wisdom, our expertise that we've the ups, highs, and lows we've had going through this. I can, I'm solid. I mean, I guess like I said, I got that FSU. That whole East is tough, and then maybe the. Yeah, that East. I think everything else I'm pretty solid with.
All right.
Certainly,
I feel the same way about 16. I feel the same way about the West, and not the rest. And I'm feel good about the rest of them. So
I do like FSU coming out of there, but how they get that bottom of the West in particular. Bottom of the East.
All right. So there you have it, folks. We'll be updating this as we go. We're gonna pump it out on social media. Please tell some friends. Get into brackets. It's $500. You don't have to pay nothing.
Money.
It's $500.
Free money.
Of our money.
Help us out, man. Look how much fun this is. How much fun you have listening to us talk shit, and it's it wasn't even And
it'll be even better. Imagine this. Next week, all of a sudden, you have a little bit of a decent week on your bracket. You got your $500 riding on it, and we come and talk about it next week. We'll give you an updates on who's in, who's out, who's doing well. That's going to be basically our show next week, is talking about the brackets. So right now, I'm gonna let you know we got let's see. Just started today, basically. We got 7 people in there: Jim Smiley, Tim O'Donnell, Webb the Wager Maker, Scott Wheatley, Chris Lawrence, and Steve Smith. The same old dudes. So let's get some people out.
Let's get some new money in this. Let's go. And I know Gary Rev G will be in there, and I got some other people
Nick
for sure.
Perone, obviously, all the guys. Yep. But hopefully, let's get 50 people. Let's get 100 people in there.
Right. And then that gets bigger. And then next year there's a couple prizes.
Yep. So all right, I think that's the show tonight.
Well,
congratulations to Illinois. I guess Illinois it is. We're fans. Talk too much, I guess, but we've been liking it. I mean, this team, they look good early. They've got all the things you look for, because they even got some shooters.
Right. They got all the boxes checked.
Yep. And in a year when it's been difficult and every team has some susceptibilities, we got to go with what we think is what we think is the best. So all right. There you have. I want to thank everybody. John Grove for the bumper music, C. Reilly, Little Saint the Goat, Wilbur Investigations, Nick Perone and MN3 Technologies. Everyone out there, just share it up. Send us an email, thewagermakers@gmail.com, or hit us up on a message on any of our social media and ask if you're not sure how to get in the tournament or the brackets or whatever. Just do it.
Yeah, brick by brick, baby. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for any and all contributors. Any questions at all? We love to give you some advice. If you have a problem with that East bracket, I can give you some advice, or Smith will give you some advice. You have a problem with the West, I'll give you some advice. We're both pretty solid on the other two, but we'd love to just get some chatter going. We'd love to hear from you guys. And again, thanks for listening, baby. Brick by brick.
Hey guys, it's Devin. Make sure you subscribe to the Wager Makers podcast on YouTube, like all their videos, and click that bell so that you turn on your post notifications and you never miss another video.
Welcome to the Wager Makers podcast with Webb and Smith.
Yeah. Hey, shout out Wager Maker podcast.
Brick by brick, baby.
Yeah.
Here comes the Wager Maker Express.
I hear y'all sick of losing money cause y'all don't know how to bet. Better hit that Wager Maker podcast with Spit and Webb. They gon' show y'all how to do this. Take these notes like y'all some students. Y'all can't seem to pick them right. Well, tonight y'all lucky night. It's that Wager Maker podcast. Wager Maker podcast. Wager Maker podcast. Your bookie getting sick cause we built this brick by brick. It's that Wager wager maker podcast. It's that wager maker podcast. It's that wager maker podcast. Come and place your bets with that WM Express. Let's go.